right. So at this point, you should be taking breaks. You should be trying to do each lesson in order over time, right? This isn't something you do and you learn how to do in just one day, right? Just like I said, remember, think of this more as you're someone who doesn't know how to read and you're now trying to learn how to read. It is a slow process. You're someone who doesn't know how to draw. You haven't been drawing since you were a kid, so it's sort of the same thing. It just takes you a long time to draw. And even when people talk about art and drawing and painting, they use words like literacy, story, evoking emotions, and similar things that apply within reading and writing. So that's more or less what you're doing here. You're kind of learning how to express yourself in a new way and basically learning how to read, but visually, right? So in this lesson, what we're going to cover is the beginning of sketching. So if you've been doing a lot of contour drawing and you've been doing a lot of shading, the next step is to kind of free up the contour. Take your pencil off of the paper and learn how to get kind of close to what you see and do a sketch. Now, one thing I've got to warn you about, you'll run into people who have sketchbooks on like Instagram, and their sketchbooks are complete fantasies. The sketchbooks and sketches are supposed to be kind of rough, not super accurate, just quick impressions. So don't compare your sketches to those fantasy fake sketchbooks you see on Instagram. That's not their sketchbook. They have another sketchbook that's actually sketches and they're not showing them. So in this one, we basically do the same thing. I do a review of everything we've done so far, do some basic contour drawings. They're not accurate, they're not supposed to be, and shade them, just to practice shading. And then we go and we basically do a sketch like this of this box of stuff. And I show you how to do that. All right, so far we have done contour drawing, which you just saw me doing. So to remind yourself, for contour drawing, there's two forms of it. The first one is don't look at your paper at all. So you pick a point where you're going to draw. And what you're doing is you're looking here and following along your eye like this, but you're drawing over here. Right? And the purpose of this is to get your hand kind of coordinated with what your eye sees, right? So you focus entirely on that. The end result of that is almost always some kind of garbage like that. But if you keep practicing, sometimes you can actually get to where, without looking, you can get very close. So, okay, real quick. You know what I might want to do? Yeah, we'll just do the head. Okay. So if we're going to do that, we're going to do just the head contour drawing. We'll start, say, like right there. Okay. Now don't look. Putting your... Oh, I looked. It's pretty hard. Alright, so without looking, nah, it doesn't look like it, but that's not the point. That exercise is entirely about getting your hand in your eye. Basically, you want your hand to pretend like it's touching the subject, the statue, and your eye to be sort of the guide, right? So then, next form of contour drawing, you can look, but try to look more over there. So we're going to start here again. So we go like that. And I'm going to look. When I get lost, I can look back. If you kind of go in a wrong direction, you can do this sort of backtracking thing. Just like that. Should be better than when you didn't look, but still not, it's not like totally accurate. And actually that one, if you practice, that's actually a style of drawing that's used with watercolor quite a lot. For various reasons. Watercolor can kind of let you get away with that. All right, so that's contour drawing. And, I should probably type that word in just in case. There we go. Okay, and then we learned value strips. I think I'll leave the drawing there, and then we'll do a value strip up here. So the value strip's pretty simple. Make a strip like this. Put a box in the center. Divide it on either side. Close enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be value number 5. This one's going to be value 9, value 1, 3, and 7. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. There's a reason, because you'll expand this out more later. And the way I'm telling people to try to do it is the amount of light. So if you went over to a light like this, you turn it down. It's like I turn the knob down, so now it's 1. Right? There's not much light, so this is going to be darker, right? And then I'm going to go about right here. That's 3, and then more. That's 5. That's 7, and this is 9. Something like that. I think I'm turning too much. That's more like 9. Yeah. Right. So, just like on a dial on, say, a guitar amp or a radio, bigger number means stronger light, right? But if that confuses you, you might be thinking more the amount of pencil. I have to draw more lines to get it darker, so you would have a reverse. But what does you give it? Amount of light. So to do these value strips, leave 9 alone. 9 is the lightest you can get, so it's your paper. And then starting here, you do the same direction of crosshatch for all the squares. So. All right, so that's your 7s down to 1, right? Then, to get 5, come back the other direction, right? So coming back the other direction. All right, then take a look, squint. If you can't see a difference between 5 and 7, then you need to make 5 a little darker. So you just do that by adding a few more lines. Kind of in between, sort of fill in the gaps. That might be too dark. Here, let me undo some of those. There you go, yeah. They're just like a... Okay, so then squint. Yeah, it's darker. It's got some spots. Oh, I should make sure everyone knows what I mean when I say squint. I mean, you do this. What that does is it does a thing called compressing the values. It makes it so that if something is Like at least you have like one thing that is a 7, another thing that's a 6. Then those two will kind of merge together and look like they're 7, right? So you do that to kind of like make sure that they're different, but it's also a way to kind of simplify what you're looking at. So let's see. Okay, so that's 5 on. So now to do 3, we're going to kind of go slightly vertical-ish, you know? So 3 on. Actually, I'm going to draw that line. That's where 1 is at. Okay, and then squint, make sure they look pretty different. It's pretty close. I think a bit here, a bit here. Yeah, that's different enough. And then finally, when you go to 1, you're kind of doing sort of horizontal, okay? And you can even like press pretty hard. And I also like to just kind of squiggle. And squint. Yep, those are very different. And clean it up a bit. There you go. So if you do a ton of contour drawing and a bunch of value strips, that's actually a lot. That's actually going to make you really able to draw and paint later. All right, so then next thing we covered was using the values. So there are kind of 2 ways you can do it. You can look at the shapes, pick the value and put it down, or you can look at everything that is not a value, make it all that value, and then look at everything that's not. So kind of a difference, right? So for example, I can say this is all 9, so everything else I'm going to do 7. So I'm going to say like this is all 9, so I'm just going to go for it. And the nose and the top of the head, right? So I go first, I just go all 7. There's a reason you do it this way. This is actually kind of how watercolor works. Just a lot of painting, but definitely watercolor. But I'll show you the other style too. Okay, so that's everything that's 7 or darker, or not 9, right? Then I go, okay, is there anything that's 5? Let's see, probably the neck, maybe through here, right? The cheek through the neck. Okay. So this is 7. So everything else all around here, that's going to be 5 on. So we just cross hatch that. if you keep doing this, it'll seem kind of odd, but you'll start to see how you can kind of merge things together. How like some shapes, you don't really have to do every individual shape. You can kind of merge them together and people's brains will figure it out. Right, so that's everything that's 5 or darker. Now we got to look for everything that's 3. So yeah, not much. We can probably go like here. That eye socket and that eye socket. Yeah, all right. So then we come back mostly vertical. Yeah, let's kind of go 3 and on. Yeah. So kind of like this. Yeah, so we're going to leave that. Oh, actually, I can't really do this one. Just going to let my pencil. And then this way. Okay, so now we're doing all of that. And this. And this over here. Not that. Yeah, this is pretty dark. Right, and then we go everything that's 1. Very meditative, which is why I play this music. And there you go. Just do that much. So again, it's not meant to look perfect. It's kind of meant to practice. We're actually, when you're cross-hatching, you're kind of practicing getting better at using the pencil, right? So it's just sort of a basic mechanical thing. So you're learning to do the dark versus light, the shading, but really you're kind of learning to do pencil. So let's say you want to do some boxes. What you do, right, is full screen this, okay? Or if you have real stuff is always better, right? So put the real stuff in one room, put your drawing, your paper, and your pencil in another room. We're going to simulate that by doing Alt-Tab. And let's get rid of the value strip. And that. All right. So to draw from memory, set like a timer. However much time you need. We're going to do 1 minute. All right, 1 minute. So what you want to do to draw from memory is, imagine you're in one room, you have a thing. You're going to draw like a pear or a cup or something like that, right? Put it in that room. Go in another room, put a piece of paper, pencil, whatever you're going to draw. Okay, keep them separated. Right now, we're going to start off in the room with the subject room. And you can do anything you want except drawing to remember what it looks like. So I like to take my pinky and I kind of like try to remember the big shapes and I pretend I'm drawing in the air. And then I'll look, I close my eyes, and I'll look, and I close my eyes, trying to kind of hold it in my mind's eye. And I'll also like start saying, okay, what is this? What is this? Kind of talking out loud. Then when I've got it, I got a minute, I go back in the other room and I try to draw what I remember. It sounds bizarre, but trust me, it's like one of the best things to improve your drawing. Okay, so we're going to do this real quick. We're going to do like 3 sessions. So it's not going to be a fantastic drawing, but if you could spend like, well, let's say 30 minutes a day just doing like a memory drawing, and it can even just be like if you're outside, you got your sketchbook, and you turn your back on what you're trying to draw, and then put it down and try to remember, right? Just trying to remember what you can and draw from it is going to help, okay? So if you want to play along, let's do a few sessions of this. All right, go. So let's see, we got the shape. I'm just going to try to remember the top shape. And then a box, kind of just a box like that. Okay, we got that on my eye. There's like a cloth that looks like that, and then try to close. Okay. Let's see, in the box, about 2/3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. So cut it into thirds. Right, got 10 seconds. Remember. Close your eyes. Look. Fake draw in the air. Close your eyes. Look. Okay, ready? All right, go back to your paper. Try to draw it. See, so like let's say the box is down there, top is here, 1, 2, 3, about like that. Came down to about here. Does this go that way or that way? I need to look at that. Oh. I think it was kind of like wider on the top. There's like some red, I think, light writing here, and then kind of a cloth there. And probably went like that. And then this was most likely a shadow. Yeah, I don't know if these are angled in or out. So do they go this way or that way? So I remember, let's go this way or that way. I think this actually, yeah, how thick are these edges? And what direction they go. Okay, ready? Now we're going to switch back. Okay, yeah, it's way wider. So let me see. Okay. Let's see. It's, oh, and actually the box kind of goes up to there. All right, so it's like that. It's like 2/3 wide. Yeah, 2/3 wide. And both sides are kind of straight, but that one goes out there. Okay. 2/3 of the whole thing. Maybe even more. Let's say like 80% of it is how wide it is at the top. And that goes out like that. So like this. This. You can also imagine yourself drawing it, right? That helps. Like in your mind's eye, imagine, like step back and imagine in your head looking at yourself drawing. Okay, and go, flip back. Okay, so this actually comes out like that. It's about, it's kind of like out here and here. And this is mostly straight like that. And this was kind of in like that. Get rid of that. it was round on that side, really. Let's get rid of that. I think it kind of came down straight and went like this. I think. And then this was fine, but actually it was like this. It's like over here. Okay, that's 1 minute. Last session. Switch back. Okay, so mine is too wide. Yeah, it's too wide. This has to be very straight. Too wide, very straight. So bring it in. Okay, that's like that. And what I'm doing, I'm literally like going like this with my pinky around the thing. It's weird, trust me, but it totally works. It totally works. It also has kind of like a good, sort of like a meditative kind of feeling to it. Trying to draw from memory is, yeah, it feels nice. Okay, so that's got to be like that. That's got to be straight. That's got to be like that. That's got to be straight. And then, yeah, open your, close your eyes. Try to remember what you see. When you do that, you'll actually have sort of an after image in your vision just from the light. Okay, last session, fix it up. Flip back. Okay, this has to be more straight like this. It's too wide, and this has to be more like this. And we can bring this down, clean this up, and then this was like some cloth that was kind of bound together. Like that. And then this was like that. This is all pretty dark inside here. And there was some like this. It was kind of an angle-ish there. There. I feel like this is wrong. Okay, that's the end. So you don't have to do much, like even just doing that. Let's see how to do. Not too bad. I mean, you know, it's from memory in 3 minutes, right? Around 6 minutes. Yeah, this. I didn't see that. This isn't too bad. And keep in mind, mine's kind of moved up. Yeah. Alright, so there you go. That's memory drawing. Actually, I may use that drawing instead of the sculpture for the next lesson. Yeah. So, proportions and like, foreshortening, proportions, and perspective from memory are almost always going to be off. But if you try to remember shapes, that tends to work. Also, weirdly, you're going to get the direction of shadows wrong. Even though they won't make sense when you draw them down, you'll still remember them wrong and then draw them wrong. That's a really common one. But yeah, so if you want to learn to draw, get yourself a sketchbook, and I'll drop some more links to some sketchbooks, right? And just every day do a contour drawing, right? Do the one that you can look, but you draw a little bit, you look, draw a little bit, you look. And, you know, kind of a nice complex scene feels really great. Hanging out in a coffee shop, a pub, something like that. Just kind of like draw the scene and draw the people. If you're going to draw a person, well, we'll get to that in a second. Then value strips. Like you should just be eating value strips every day. Just that little 5 strip. Do like 10 of those a day, you know, kind of like a warm up, or just if you're just like reading the news, chilling, You got your little book, goes value strip, value strip, value strip, value strip. It'll get annoying after a while. So you know you've done enough when you're like bored and you don't feel like doing it. But it's pretty meditative. It's actually pretty fun. I wouldn't say fun, but it's like relaxing, right? And then drawing some stuff from memory. So if you could do like, say, one contour drawing, shade it with your value strips, and then do the same thing or something else from memory. That's like what, about an hour, right? You can spread that out over the day. And then if you just keep doing that, I promise you'll actually learn to draw. You'll get really good at drawing. But the next thing we're going to learn is how to make a drawing that doesn't suck. It doesn't suck much, we'll say, right? So this is sort of the next level of getting closer to being very accurate. So this is sketching style, right? This is what you typically see when people do sketching. Now, one thing I'm going to warn you is that there's some people who go like, look at my sketchbook, and their sketchbook is like perfect, and that's a total load of bullshit. So that person actually has a sketchbook, and sketches are supposed to be kind of rough and not accurate, right? They're supposed to be kind of notes, okay? So if you see someone whose sketchbook just looks like perfectly Instagram ready, it's a load of bullshit. They got another one that everything is like sketched and simplified and easier, right? So we're going to do sketching next. Let me just load this up. We're going to import that exact same thing that we were just drawing. I'm going to import it. And we're going to learn how to sketch it. Because it's kind of cool. Cloth is really fun. Cloth is like really, really fun. Very challenging. Getting cloth right is real hard. Where was it? It's like this one? Yeah, okay, let's do that one. Yeah, about right there. It's good. And keep in mind, I'm simulating what you might do in the real world, you know, like if you're out. And, you know, learning to draw with digital has a lot of advantages. But it's a lot easier to just use like a ballpoint pen and a notebook, or like a little pencil and a notebook. It's just so much easier. You can carry it with you. You don't need to turn a computer on. It gets you away from the computer. So if you're a programmer and you're stuck with a bug, grab your sketchbook and just like, you know, draw your hand or like go outside and draw some stuff. And yeah, it'll unlock the bugs. It'll fix all the bugs. And it's not too expensive. But if you are interested in getting into digital, tablets these days are very cheap. You can get a tablet, like a decent tablet, for $40. A 10x6 is about $40, and a 6x4, that's the surface area, is $20. So very cheap these days. You can get a monitor, like a actual tablet monitor like I have, for about $250. But I do not recommend that. Please don't blow tons of money. Okay, so sketching. The idea with sketching is that you're taking what you learn doing contour drawing. So that contour drawing's purpose is to get your hand and your eye to do the same thing. Okay? So that's the first step. Because right now you see a thing and then you go to draw it with your hand and your brain is like, oh, I'm in charge now. I know what that looks like. And then you just draw bullshit, right? It's just totally not right. It's because you've not trained your brain. So your brain is just going to make up complete lies, right? So the contour drawing breaks your brain so that way you can actually just have your eyes control your hand more directly, okay? And if you saw the previous lessons when I turned a face upside down and just had you draw it, doing that too also breaks the things in your brain that make you want to summarize the face and mess with how you perceive the face, right? Okay, then the memory drawing is helping you build up your ability to hold details and information in your mind before you transfer to the paper, because it'll go away like that. It's like almost instantaneously go away. So you need to really be able to like look at something and then remember what you had to do and then go to the paper. But we'll have another solution for that, and later we'll do sight size drawing. That'll be where you get very, very accurate. So the purpose of sketching is to, one, get you drawing You don't want to spend a ton of time on a sketch. A sketch is meant to be kind of rough, a summary, a note, an impression of what you saw. And it's to practice all the stuff you've done before, right? So it's kind of like to confirm that you're learning something, right? So you're going to practice, you're going to use contours to kind of figure out where it's at, but you don't have to do contour drawing. You're going to practice your values, and you're going to have to look at stuff and then remember and actually do the drawing. So the sketching is where you apply the other 3 lessons: values, contour, and memory, right? So the way to do a sketch, honestly, the way to do a sketch is just sit your ass down and do a sketch. That's it, right? Just sit down, take what you know, and try to draw what you see. But I'm going to give you some ways to make it a little easier, okay? So the first thing is, if you know how tall something is and how wide it is, like it's just sort of like, imagine it's got a box around it. So you can imagine where like, maybe I put like a piece of wood here, a piece of wood here, a piece of wood kind of here, and a piece of wood here. Okay. So I made a little wood frame around it. You can even take your hands and kind of go like this or like this to see what it is. Okay, it's like that, right? If you can get the top and the bottom left and right, that's like a big win. Just that right there will help you make a better looking, more proportional drawing, right? So that's your kind of first step. But there's sort of a certain way to do it, because when you do a sketch, you don't want to have like, you know, a ton of lines all over the place. It makes it a little harder to kind of see what you're doing. I could actually just do this instead of like erasing. Okay, so another way to do that same kind of have a box thing is you just sort of touch the paper, right? So I go, okay, let's see, kind of here, right? Get a little touch there, a little touch there. Okay, so that's about how tall it is. Maybe the corner is there. So you're just kind of like feeling it out, just like a touch there. And use what you're learning from contour drawing to go, yeah, I think it's kind of here. And this is kind of about here. That's kind of about here. Yeah, and you start doing a little bit of drawing, light. Kind of keep your pencil marks real light. This is kind of about here. Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's like about like this. And then maybe it's about out here, right? Just a little light mark. And then that's about up there. Okay, so notice I didn't draw like a big, hard set of lines, but I still kind of know where everything is, right? So we're touching, we're kind of feeling where stuff's at, just kind of getting an idea. Another thing is you don't have to do a lot of erasing. If you get it wrong, let's say you go like this, you can actually kind of inch your way in and go, no, it's not there. It's kind of more here, more here. Yeah. It's kind of like right there. Because what'll happen is, and when you're done with the drawing, nobody will see those little light marks, or they'll just look like character, right? They're just like, oh, this person's an artist, right? Okay, we go, Then we start trying to find more landmarks. Just get some touching in here. Yeah, this part is kind of like right there to there, right? And then it comes up into here. So now we're trying to get a little more confident with knowing where things at. So just kind of slowly getting sort of a silhouette, right? That's there. So then this is kind of here. And again, I'm very light. Okay, so then this is kind of maybe here. And it's sort of like that. Okay, and yeah, this is kind of more out here. Notice I'm still kind of doing contour drawing, but I'm just doing a light touch, little light touch here, little light touch there. Right? It's like here, and that's going to come up here, and I can start now and kind of do a few more lines. And you see how it's kind of slowly emerging? Kind of there. This part of the box is sort of here, right? And we're just sort of like touching until we get kind of there, right? So see, now I'm kind of feeling it out where everything's at. And next, I just sort of try to get the big shapes. So this, I feel like this has to come out here. And notice I'm kind of going, yeah, it's got to come out there. Okay. And then it comes down here. I think that has to be more over here. Now, if something really bothers you, go ahead and erase it. Okay, now we've got sort of the silhouette kind of figured out. I know that this has to come over here, and that's about there. So then what we do is we just start getting more confident. So I can see there's this line. It's actually kind of cool. It's like 2 boxes, right? And then this thing here is kind of here. So I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to go like this. And then once you feel like you've got enough info, and also think of drawing and also painting as kind of finding more and more information, because your first thing that you see is usually always wrong, right? And so you're just trying to correct what you see and find more info. All right, so like this, yeah, let's get that cloth in. So now that I sort of know where, like, a general idea, I can start adding in some of the major shapes. And now we're going to get to where I have kind of more confident lines. And so what you want to do is have kind of big lines, right? I mix it like kind of big lines, and I'll do little squigglies. So see these little squigglies? If you're kind of lost, you just kind of do a little squiggly like that. It'll actually kind of unlock what you see. All right, and so then, yeah, this is here, and constantly relate where things are. But for the most part, if you did kind of like little marks for where things are, kind of like up here, over there, so on and so forth, now you should be able to kind of be a little more confident. And also, like, you know, you can also do kind of like a bit of a contour drawing, kind of figure out where things are. So yeah, I think like this. And remember, we're keeping it really, really light. You want to basically make it so that these lines aren't really seen. And then there's that behind it. Okay. And then you kind of want to look, I think this needs to be wider. I think this is actually more out here. And notice I'm not going to erase. I'm just going to kind of draw it again. Yep, there we go. And then we can sort of say, you know, I can kind of see the box through here. Can I get that down? All right, and then this is like this. That's this box. All right, so then now we're at a point where we've got a lot of information, right? And what you're doing is it's kind of like growing your confidence in what you see. First, you're like, you're unsure, right? You're not confident. And then as you get more information, you slowly kind of get more confident. You can make more confident marks, right? So like, I think this probably has to come out some. I think it's probably like that. Now, sometimes you'll be like, oh, that's totally wrong, but it still works in the drawing. Just leave it. It's fine. You can do another sketch. The whole point is that the sketches are supposed to be kind of quick. Okay, so that's there. That's here. Like that. That bothers me, but I won't erase it. Okay, so now that we have sort of like more, and then this has sort of like a top that's like this. Now we can kind of press harder and sort of start get a more defined drawing. So we don't have to be super accurate with it. Now what you can do is just draw it how you want. Like just kind of draw it. Things are sort of in the right place. So you just kind of have to make it look like a drawing, like you did a drawing. Okay. And so now I'm just going to get more and more confident marks. And I tend to kind of do this kind of like squiggly thing, but you find your own style. Once you sort of know where stuff's at, it's kind of then just forget what you've been learning and just try to do the drawing. And I'll also say, just don't expect your drawings to be amazing all the time. But if you do one that is amazing, like be like proud of it. Hey, cool, I did it. I like to think of it as like, you know, you got like maybe you're at a stage where like 1% of your drawings are like decent and you like them, and the other ones really, you don't say that they're bad, but just go like, okay, yeah, so I need to work on this and this and this. Yeah, it looks like I need to work on values. And then you cue that up, do a bit more values, and then try another drawing. You go, okay, this one came out better, but I think proportions, I need to work on that. And paying attention to details. So try to be as objective as you can when you evaluate your stuff. Yeah, go there. This comes here. This is like this. Let's see. Yep, got that. All right, we have an add, and then I'll show you the shading part of it. So using what you learned to put it together. Because you don't need a whole lot of lines. And in fact, you could not do what I'm doing now. Just get your little outlines going, and then just start shading it. And do just the shapes, and it would probably look amazing. Okay, we're gonna kind of get that in there, this in here. That goes there. All right, so you have a drawing that looks like this, right? Now remember, it's not intended to be like photorealistic, just it's fine. It's better than your contour drawing, but it's not photo level. We will get to a style of drawing that can get you to photographic level, but you kind of have to build yourself up to be able to do it. It's not hard. It's called sight size drawing if you want to look it up. It's the style of drawing that John Singer Sargent, I think, what's his name? Basically, a lot of the classical realists use it, and it goes back a long ass way, probably 1,000 years or so. So this one is, you get a sketch. Now what we want to do is kind of make it look more real by getting in some of the values. So while you're practicing, you want to do your little value strip, but I'm just going to kind of go for it. And what I think I might do, let's do this. Okay, so now we kind of want to make it look like this. So I'm going to squint again, right? And what you're going to do when you squint is you're going to see, let me do this. Here, let me actually do it this way. There we go. When you squint, I want you to look like kind of over here, all right? Look over there. Now open your eyes fully, look. That looks like it's all totally different values, right? It looks like there's like value 7, pretty light, and value 3 or 1, pretty dark, right? Now squint, and what do you see now? When you squint down, you should see that kind of really this is all value 1, like it's pretty dark. This is value 1, and then the rest is, say, value 5 or 7, right? So that's what squinting does. It sort of helps you simplify the shapes. So you squint down. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this part here, and we're just going to make this here pretty dark, and the rest of it, the whole top, like through here. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of shade this all in right there with 1, and then when we come back, we're going to make this pretty dark, right? So we're going to do it kind of quick. Yeah, so let's go here first. All right, so we're just gonna, and sort of speed is kind of the goal. You don't have to go fast. There's people who think that if you didn't go fast, you didn't make art. Those people also did a lot of LSD in the 60s, so their opinion is questionable to begin with. Okay, we're gonna do that like this, and then also this one kind of come back. Yeah, I think we could probably get away with most of the top on this side, right? Okay, so that's like we're going value 7 there, right? Now we're gonna come back and do the rest. but we're kind of going up through here. And same thing here. Oh man. It's one of the reasons why I don't really think digital is a good learning medium, because like if it's real paper, I touch the paper, the pencil makes a mark. And I'm over here with my pencil, like having to jam it into the screen to get it to do anything half the time. So if it looks like the cross-hatching is kind of jacked, that's because it is. Okay, and then let's see, like right through here. Yeah, that right there. Okay. And then squint down. Yeah, we can just take this whole thing here, make it pretty dark. Okay. And then we can come over to here and really the whole top. Yeah, we can just sort of like come in and start just cross-hatching this whole top. Oh, and actually we kind of want to come back here. Hold up. Yeah, like it's only doing marks half the time. It's incredibly irritating. Try a different pencil maybe? Yeah, that might be better. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about critique. I'm going to stop right there. Right? I want to talk a little bit about judging your work. If you look at this right now, it doesn't look that great, right? But the drawing beforehand probably looked okay. There's this part in the middle in everything that you make. If you're a writer, I'm a professional writer. I've published 4 books. I'm a professional programmer. I know how to make code. Everything that I do, everything I've seen everyone do. Painting, I know how to paint. I know how to draw. I know how to do it in multiple mediums, different subjects. Every single creative process I've ever seen, the middle looks like shit. The middle part of your whatever you're making will look like total ass. So if you get halfway through like this looks kind of like ass, right? It'll probably continue to look like ass because I'm struggling with the pencil. But this middle part, don't judge it. Don't judge it yet. Just go, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. The middle always looks like shit. The middle always looks like shit. Don't trust the middle. It could come out awesome. I'm not going to learn anything if I judge it now, right? And I think this goes out to all you gifted kids, all you perfectionists, right? You get to the middle part and you go, I suck. This is terrible. And you give up. Well, you're not done yet. So it could turn out awesome. It could turn out better than you thought. It could still turn out totally terrible, but at least you finished it and you learned something. If you stop halfway through, you won't learn how to finish it, right? Okay, so don't judge the middle. I'm looking at this now because I kind of know what I'm doing. I know it's not going to come out great, but for you, go ahead and keep going. Don't stop in the middle. And this applies to if you're writing, like you want to write a book, you got to keep going until you're done with it, right? If you want to make a piece of software, write some code, you got to keep going until you're done with it, right? Build it up slowly and just don't worry about the middle part. When you're done, then go evaluate it, okay? Because the middle always looks like shit. All right. Let's go put some more polish on this turd. All right, so now, yeah, we're just going to basically cross-hatch this whole top. So it's sort of like the purpose of this style of cross-hatching, and trust me, this is not the only way to do cross-hatching, is to kind of get you to merge shapes together. It's going to become very important later. If you want to do watercolors, you want to do oil paints, pastels, being able to simplify shapes by merging them together is like a big advantage. So that's why we're doing this kind of strange style where you have to look. I'm looking at this. I'm going like, this is kind of like all like 7, like light to dark. So I'm just going to shade it all with one big screen. And you can do sections like I did that side over there. Yeah, so even though it's dark in here, I'm just going to go right through it. Okay, cool. And then go ahead and do a little cleanup if you need to. Yeah, because like this right here, that's pretty white. Okay, now we go back the other direction to do the rest of it. So any place that is darker, no, actually we gotta go, yeah, that way. And across like this. And then like this. Okay, and then inside there, let's see. Yeah, let's make this darker. And this. And then this is really dark inside here. This is what they call a light trap. It's one of the few places that may actually be black. Nothing in real life that has very high color, right? And is very dark or very light. It's like just a few things. And most of the time it's like a man-made object will be very black. And then, yeah, let's hit that one more time. Right, that's good enough. Yeah, let's kind of just do this a bit. Okay, see, it's starting to come out, right? So now we're going to kind of find some more places, some more. And also, if you keep doing this, you'll find out you don't have to draw around everything. You can actually sort of, what will we say, imply stuff. And then there, here. Yeah, let's make this a lot darker. This pen, dude. And then, yeah, kind of this. Okay. And that's kind of pretty close there, but let's squint down. I could probably make this darker. Yeah, we can probably do. Yeah, a bit like that. That'll work. Okay, so then it's just a matter of kind of adding some of the dark spots here. We're sort of saying the box is pretty light, so we're gonna kind of do this, do that. Maybe just some light cross hatching through here. Yeah, these things. And then, yeah, this is a pretty dark line here. Cross hatch that. We could kind of give this some light marks. When it comes to lettering, just sort of like, again, this word imply means just don't do it accurately. You want to, it takes practice to learn how, but what you want to do is, when you imply it, basically people will look at it and they go, oh, that's letters, but they can't read it, right? I think that's the best way to do it, to say what you have to do. Okay, here we go. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, we could tinker with that forever. Let's see. All right. A lot of people here just interested in drawing. Cool. And digital art. Oh, no traditional media. Oh my God. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, digital art. So one thing I'm going to warn people, if you think digital art is easier, in a lot of ways it's not. So if like there's a particular style you like, I would go and see what that artist learned first. So if let's say you like sort of an anime style, they probably did a shitload of watercolor, right? Because like if you go to school for like illustration, you're going to do a lot of gouache and watercolor. I think that's still pretty good. A lot of charcoal, a lot of drawing, a lot of gouache, a lot of watercolor. So water media, right? And they'll also have to be forced to do like some oil painting, pastels. Because back in the day, they did a lot of pastel. And if you like sort of like the art of like Pixar, they do almost exclusively, as far as I know, they do pastel. Like and also a lot of the like illustration based companies, so movie studios and whatnot, hire a lot of like traditional landscape painters to kind of do like ideas for them. So if there's an artist you really love, go find out or just email them and ask them, hey, when you learned to draw, did you learn like watercolor first, or did you always do digital? Okay, so this is the drawing. This is a sketch, right? That's what it's supposed to look like. And I'm going to kind of show you another way to do these sketches that's sort of gross, but you might like it better. If you're using real paper, it's actually kind of cool, but yeah, you'll see. All right, so let's do another poll. All right, so most people looking at drawing. Very cool. All right, so if you did a drawing, I would say mine's like, yeah, it's not bad. That's a good sketch. I definitely need to work on how well I use the pencil. The digital thing, maybe my nib is crap, or maybe I need to replace the nib. It just doesn't actually draw half the time, so it's most likely I just got to practice it, maybe adjust some things here and there. Let's see. It's pretty good proportion. One thing you should always do too, especially if you're copying from a photo, is get rid of it and see, does it make sense? Yeah, so without the photo, it's kind of hard to tell what that is, but that's to be expected. It's not a very common object, right? But you can kind of see, yeah, it's like maybe some boxes with something on it. Okay. And then with the object, you can sort of compare. Yeah, it's not too bad. I'd say that's good enough for a sketch. That's what we're shooting for. Okay, so then the last thing I kind of want to show you. I don't know if I'll be able to simulate it in here. Let me just see what we can do. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I may have to actually... let's add a layer. Let me see what this does. I may have to actually practice this before I try to show people. You see, like the pastels should be more like this. They're not fuzzy. You can make them fuzzy. It's very easy to do that. It's almost too easy. But when you start off, they're very accurate. And then this. A bit right there. Yeah. We can probably dip down into here. Yeah, see? Looks way better. It could also be that I'm actually just an oil painter. Okay, and then get down like this. All right, so that's 3 styles. 2 of them I really suck at. And then this is the oil painting. So you can see kind of where you're aiming for, right? Because generally if you can get a sketch and then you can get basic shapes, the next step after this is what I would say would be your basic shape start. This is where you get started. Then you just refine this and keep refining this with your chosen medium. So in digital, you would then probably zoom in on both and you would sort of like figure out how to make it look more realistic at those sections and so on, right? Okay, so then the last thing to kind of cover for sketching is how to do sketching with spit and ink. And it sounds crazy, but trust me, it's actually really good. All right, so if you have a sketchbook, right? Okay. And then you just go get a pen that is kind of crappy. I think this pen, I have one of these. I don't think this will work, but you can get like these, you can basically get pens that are water-based. And I forget, they're by Faber-Castell, I think. So you can do your drawing like you normally would. Let me see if I got, yeah, okay, cool. So you kind of do your drawing like normal, right? You know, so like, let me see if I can make it so you can see. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna like, oh hey, I got my drawing. Okay, and you do your little contour drawing, right? Okay. Now let's say the light is over here, and I want to make this darker right there. So I kind of go like this, get my finger, and go like that. Now this is an alcohol pen, so it's not actually going to do it, but yep, just lick it and go like that, and it'll do this really cool sort of like watercolor thing and shade that side, and then you can go over here, go like that. So if you're feeling adventurous and you want to go out and sketch, you want to bring a pen, and you want to do a little quick sketch drawings, but also make them look kind of like watercolors or like art, then yeah, just like get a crappy pen and your spit and it'll look good. Trust me, it'll look good. Try that for sketching if you can handle basically your sketchbook being a bunch of spit and ink. Trust me, it is awesome. I think you'll actually like it. Okay, so that's the next practice to start throwing into learning to draw. You've got contour drawing, right? And doing that. Then you've got drawing from memory. And honestly, and doing value strips, right? Okay. You could live in that for the next 3 months and come out the end of the 3 months being pretty damn good at drawing, right? Those 3 things are going to get you, they're going to get you some art, right? But it's probably going to frustrate the majority of people who are programmers, because you're going to want to be, I want to be accurate. So the next phase in getting towards accuracy is doing this kind of sketching. And you can see it's more accurate than if I did a contour drawing, but it's still not bang on, right? It's still not photographic. And hopefully, if you like this and you like that it's not photographic, maybe you just sort of let go. It doesn't have to be crazy accurate, right? There is some sort of element of risk. So like just taking a chance and seeing if you've seen if something awesome comes out. And if not, then cool, do another one. It's a sketchbook. That's the point, right? So if you're at a point where your contour drawing is getting boring and the memory drawing is getting boring, then do a bunch of sketches too. Just keep your little sketchbook on you, your pencil, and just sketch everything. Your food, rooms you're in, places you go, people you see. Try and do them fast. Try to do slow. Everything you can, okay? And then the next lesson we're going to do, well, I think the next session, we're just going to do a bunch of sketches like this, okay? We're going to actually practice sketching random stuff like that. And then I'll cover common subjects. So things that you commonly want to learn how to paint and draw, right? So rooms, portraits, kind of how to approach all those. And then after that, we're going to do site size drawing. So site size drawing is actually kind of what I did here, right? You have your thing side by side, and then there's a way to measure very accurately from point to point to get your drawing like dead accurate, like super accurate. And then once you have it really accurate, you can paint on top of it. You can draw from there more, do your cross hatching, just go all out, right? So that's sort of like the end goal, site size drawing and doing drawings from that. And then final thing I might throw in using charcoal. I might actually go and use charcoal. Charcoal's pretty easy to work with, but again, it requires kind of setup, certain paper, got to go get a certain thing, you need a board, right? If you want to learn to draw, that making it easy for you to get to your stuff and just sit there and draw is going to make it so you do more drawing. And the only way to learn to draw is to do a shitload of drawing. That's the only way to learn how to draw, is just to try and draw as accurately as you can, and use every trick you can think of to make it more accurate. So there we go. That's today's drawing lesson. And actually, I only have 2 hours, so I may end it early. I hope you all don't mind. So no programming tonight, sadly. And always remember, it just takes practice. It's just think of it as like you're someone who doesn't know how to read, right? So the reading is not a natural thing. You just have to practice reading until you can read, right? So it's sort of the same thing. Drawing's not really that natural, drawing accurately. So you just gotta practice drawing until it's natural.